Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our video series, How to Achieve Great Things in Our Life. Today's topic is very important for people from all walks of life, say people from primary school, secondary school, university students, people with young families who try to establish themselves, or people who migrated for different countries, like newly arrived doctors in Australia, newly arrived nurses in UK, and all sorts of people. What I'm going to discuss is like what you will do if a lot of negative things happening in your life. At times where you get a lot of negative things, how do you tackle such scenario? Here I'm going to discuss like don't let negative things take a toll on your life, which is the topic I just took to this short video. Sometimes negative things happen in our life. May not be like one negative thing. It could be so many negative issues happening in our life. I can give you many examples from my own life, but what I'm going to discuss is like how to overcome such situation in our life. Like if one after the other, a lot of negative issues happening, and then you get almost really depressed. And if it's happening to you, just think about these things what I'm discussing, and then try to handle such scenarios accordingly. I will take a few examples from my own life. When I was, say, about 10 to 12 years old, you remember, like yesterday, I told you about how I decided to work hard, study hard to become a good person in the future. So what I did was like studying hard to the exam at that time, which is the Year 5 exam. But after that, I went to one of the leading schools in Bandarwel, our hometown. And unfortunately, at that time, few negative issues came to my young life. Some of them were not under my control. For example, our father lost his job, like temporarily for a few years. That happened when I was only 10 to 12 years old. That at that time, like say grade 6, 7, that time. So obviously, with a family of 5 kids, that could cause a lot of financial pressures. And in our environment, when it happens to a family, all the extended families, so all the other relatives would also came after you in a way, like they disregard you in big time. Okay. And then so one negative, like if you take that example, so one negative thing would be like all your financial luxuries will be cut off. Like like you could ask for good things from your dad, but if he lost his job, there will be some restriction. And then financial pressures will hit the family itself, like day-to-day life, plus the education, if you want a good clothes and things like that. But around the same time, if the wider society don't see that this is what's happening to these people, they won't make it easy for you. So that's what I'm going to tell you. Like all the other relatives and people from village and everyone would sometimes make a lot of fun of you or make some jokes on you or things like that. That could happen. That those kind of things happened to me as well as a young person. But luckily for myself, there was a way out. Way out was like being really active and being really active with very good friends. Active in two two pathways myself. I can remember I was a very good, keen student. So I was at the at the forefront of that class, like say first, second, third, that area all the time. And then you were a very prominent member of the class. So you very popular. And at the same time, you have a lot of stress relieving sort of events with your friends, say singing or playing or making jokes or making fun with a lot of your friends who actually don't know that you actually going through that sort of scenario in your personal life. That's an example from my school days. But what I'm saying to you is like, if you are in such a situation, so you can make the way out by means of your good friends, one, or with your family, if the family is better than your friends, or the pressure, for example, if the pressure is coming from workplace, so you get a good family and then you go for good, regular exercise, or go for a run, or go for a swim, or go for a bike ride, or things like that, doing a lot of other activities which can make you a way out from those negative issues. So that's an example from when I was a younger child, like say from age of 10 to 14 years, 13, 14 years, I would say. Taking my own experience those days, when those pressures hit you hard, when your family is struggling with financial issues, and when your parents finding it hard because of they lost their job, and when your siblings also having some issues with you, or all those things, maybe even some temporary illness for you, and you sometimes feel like, what's this life? Does it worth living? That sort of thing. Like you could even be depressed. So it could happen to anyone. So still, if you have like a way out, if it's happening in the home front or around the home or around the area you live, if you have a way out in your school, friends, or in other part of the society you're interacting with, you can compensate, which is what I actually did around that time. I should be very grateful for my friends. They probably didn't know what was happening in my young life that time, but I had really good friends to sort of absorb all those pressures through them. Okay, that's an example from my young life. And then go to the university life. I could still remember, so say it could happen to anyone, current university students, previous university students, or future university students, especially in an environment like Sri Lanka. So I remember in my, then I was like 20s, right? 23 to 28 was the age when I was in the university. So I could remember at least few lecturers or few teachers, or few supervisors, finding faults on you for little things. When I say few, actually only handful, one or two. And they can actually follow you, or they can actually ridicule you, or do something like they can actually pinpoint you and try to target you in some scenarios. And this happened in different environments, not only in Sri Lanka. I have seen videos from India and other parts of the world. It could happen even in Australia, unfortunately, sometimes, very rarely. So I can remember at least a handful of people doing that, like as their from their capacity as your supervisors or senior people or teachers. And even to the point, still I'm bringing you to my own life scenario, even to the point like, what's this life? Why me? That sort of thing. I can remember, actually, I had a good friend. I told him, oh, I can't tolerate this anymore, man. And then he said, don't do any stupid things. I can remember. So that's why you need to have good friends. And even with that one, what I did was like, okay, yeah, someone is targeting me, but it doesn't matter. I got my goal in my mind. Okay, somehow I overcome this pressurized situation, talk to friends or go for, as I said, I studied in a very picturesque area in Sri Lanka, like in Galle. So we could always go to the rampart or go to the beach, say go to Galle Fort, and then have some fun in the evening or over the weekend, and just forget about the pressures coming during the week. So that sort of thing actually we practice, I can remember, and somehow we could overcome such pressurized situation as university students. Take an example at your work. Sometimes your work colleagues or work supervisors would actually, or co-workers, can make your life difficult, can make your life miserable, especially like, you know, I take an example. If you come from a different country and start work in Australia, unfortunately, sometimes you could get some extreme people. So even myself, I found actually one guy when I started my hospital rotations. One of the guys, one of the supervisors, actually, he was making the life a bit difficult in a way, like he was asking questions about, not about my clinical practice, I can remember, not about clinical practice, but he mentioned about, oh, you come from Sri Lanka and then you were still practicing like Sri Lanka here or something. And then you have to know your rights, right? You have to know like where you stand and you actually, what you actually doing. Are you doing a good work or good job, and you sort of following the usual practices as a doctor? And then you could question the supervisor back. I can remember I actually questioned him back, and I told him, who told you that I'm working like a Sri Lankan here? Because this is not a point, because I have lived here for 10, 12 years before I come to the hospital. So it's I have had a lot of experience, local experience, as to how the Australian health system, or as to how the Australian general public work, or like interactions work. And then I just ask him a direct question like, how do you talk about this? Have you asked or have you taken a 360-degree assessment? That's, I think I mentioned this one in a different video. 360 degrees assessment means someone asked about the performance of a doctor from the nurses, from other doctors, senior doctors, junior doctors, colleagues from other units, other parts of hospital, and then get a wider view about the guy's performance through them. It's not only about clinical performance. That means not only about how you work, how you see patients, and how you synthesize your like the differential diagnosis and how you manage patients, but a lot of other things about your communication skills, and a lot of other things about how you handle pressurized scenarios, and how you deal with families, deal with friends, and a lot of other things. So my point to that supervisor, like this was after, I think this was the first 3 months, after the first 3 months, that's a 3 months assessment, he came with this strange idea about like behaving like Sri Lanka. I can remember he said like, oh, I give you like a Sri Lankan. I said, yeah, don't bring that Sri Lankan argument here. That's not on. That's what I told to my supervisor. I can still remember. We are still good friends actually on LinkedIn and other fronts. But what I'm saying to you is like, you have to know you have to have your ground, and you have to know your basis, and you have to know your work rights, and your so you don't timidly listen to them, but you tell them, okay, don't bring this argument without a basis. If you got the basis, that's right. But if you don't have a basis, I got my points too. So I think this happened in the university, like Sri Lankan university scenario as well. Yeah, one of the lecturers got crossed with me because I actually probably raised my concern about something. Unfortunately, world over, not only in your hometown, not only in your school, not only in your university, not only in your first job in a foreign country or first job in a different place, it could happen anywhere. There will be some people who have some sort of extreme ideas, as I said, maybe political, maybe racial, maybe anything. But you have to stand your ground and you have to know your rights. And I would not use the word fight, but yes, you could fight for yourself. I think it's it is the time to stop for today's talk. Just remember, so many negative things could happen in your life at different times of your life. As I said, as a young child, as a young person or a university student, or as a person who come to a new country to work and or study, it could happen anywhere. But keep fighting, keep working hard, but keep your focus. If you are a university student, you will be studying your subject well. If you are a young doctor who's trying to get into a new system, you will be performing and you will be practicing good medical practice, and you will be improving your communication and everything all the time. And keep fighting within yourself, and you should have a way out. As I said, although there are so many negative things attacking you from so many fronts, you should have at least one front to get your stress away. Okay, all the best. We will keep talking. We'll come back with a different topic tomorrow.